Hey, my name is Sarah and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Alongside me, but I won't say alongside because he is on the other side of the city currently, is manager Jacob. We're going virtual
What's
today,
up, Sarah?
Jacob.
I know it's weird because we both have like microphones in front of us. However, we're very far apart in the city. I'm excited for this one. This is our first virtual episode.
Yeah, it is. And I will say, we did not intentionally plan it to end up being on a snow day here in Toronto. We were going to record virtually anyways, but it just really worked out that there is so much snow outside. So the idea of like even leaving the apartment or having people come here just did not feel like the energy to record.
I know I actually had on I'm trying to maintain not race fitness, but like enough of a fitness schedule where I can get out running a few times a week. And I was like, okay, I'm really going to lean into this starting today, Monday, when we're recording. But that plan quickly fell apart as I took a look outside, expecting the snow from yesterday to have melted. But in fact, there's just more coming down.
Yeah, there's more. It's actually insane outside right now. The sun's finally coming out though, so hopefully it will melt soon because I don't have snow tires on my car yet because it's the beginning.
Oh my God, I was driving back from the cottage yesterday. I didn't put my snows on yet, and it was the same thing. I was like white knuckling it for probably 2 hours as the sun went down early, so it was dark outside, and then brakes are locking up. Like it wasn't fun.
So on this snow day record, Jacob, what are you eating or drinking this week?
Okay, this is actually a fun one. I don't know if I'm entering like a time in my life when I'm gonna be just like become a baker or something. But I had just a little inspiration the other day. I don't know where it came from, but just to like try baking a chocolate chip cookie. Obviously, people know I'm a big sweets guy. I love a good pastry. But I haven't really been in the mood for like baking at home until last week, and I was like, let me throw down just like a classic batch of chocolate chip cookies. Modified it a little bit, the recipe I was working with, just to be able to like basically increase the chew factor because I'm a big chewy chocolate chip cookie kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And I think I nailed it. And then I was like, let me just see, because sometimes you get lucky. I was like, let me just see. So I double checked on the weekend. I baked another batch of chocolate chip cookies, and let me tell you, they came out so good. I'm impressed with myself, and I'm like, as we're talking about it's snowing outside, things are getting a little bit cozier. I think this might be my new like winter activity where I could be a baker.
Was there a specific recipe you followed? Like, did you just find one online, or like did you use like the one in the back of the box? I did ask
ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, and then I did a little bit more research on Pinterest, basically like looking at those photos, and then kind of split the difference between like how to make them chewier, which I found chilling the dough before baking it, and then also adding an extra egg yolk. Those were like my two tips if you like a good chewy chocolate chip cookie.
Wow. I like that. I've always wanted to be someone Well, I was just going to say, I always wanted to be someone that had like a signature chocolate chip cookie recipe, but I tried baking cookies once like 4 years ago, and I've never done it since because I burnt them the last time.
Well, I'll write together my recipe and then I'll send it to you, and maybe you can see if you can replicate it, and if in fact it is the best chocolate chip cookie recipe in the world. But aside from that, what are you eating or drinking this week?
Well, as people can hear probably in my voice, I'm actually concerned to hear how this sounds on a podcast, how nasally I sound and congested. I've just been drinking Emergency, like the vitamin C pack things. I don't know what I've realized is I'm really bad for like, I'm a very reactive person when I get sick as opposed to being more proactive. Like, should I probably just drink like one of these emergency tablet things every single day?
That's honestly why I take a multivitamin, just to have exactly. This is your time. I'm gonna add it to our weekly meetings to just remind you to take your vitamin C.
Probably because like I'm so reactive. I'm like, oh my God, I have to start taking it now once I start to feel like I'm getting sick. And it's like at that point it's too late. Like I'm doing my best, but I think it does help me get over it faster. Like really, I started to feel sick last like Wednesday, and it got really bad, and then I had to cancel all my plans and just like rot on the couch for a solid 24 hours. But I'm such a bad sick person that by day 2 I was like, I need to get out. And I did get out of the house for like a couple events because I was feeling better, but the energy it took to do that, it like drained me, and I was only out of the house for like an hour and a half. And so I'm on the mend now. It's all just like in my head now though, you know what I mean? When it's like it's moved up, no body aches anymore, but I just sound worse than it is. And it's just annoying at this point. I hate waking up.
That's always
and
like
it's like feels gross.
Yeah. Oh, that's the annoying part when you're sick, but you're not really sick. It's kind of stuck around, and then you're like, you want to be going out and doing things, and then people are like, are you sick right now? Are you going to get me sick? No.
Yeah.
So I feel
like, unless I'm like making out with everybody out there, I'm not getting you sick. You know what I mean? Like at that point, I was like past that stage. So, yeah, I just been chugging emergency, and it worked, I guess, but I need to be more proactive with it, I think is my next step.
Okay, good tip to take away. Sarah, what about what you're watching or reading this week?
I just want to take a moment on the podcast to give a very special shout out to the best television that's out there. Not even just out there, that might ever be made, and that is The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I don't think there is more cinematic television out there. It is quite literally the best show ever, and it gives you everything. It gives you ridiculous outfits. It gives you the drama. It just all of it. I've been raving about this show for years, but this season, something about this season specifically, like they just keep leveling up. Just when you think you're like, oh, what are they going to talk about? Like it's going to be just like another, like they're going to dip eventually. This season, like this show has never had a dip. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City literally somehow levels up every single year. It is the most incredible television show ever, and I'm just shouting it out to anyone that hasn't watched it yet. Get on it.
Does it make you want to travel to Salt Lake City?
Absolutely, because I want to go to the beauty lab where Heather Gay owns Beauty Lab, which is like a Botox and filler place. And I want to go there because that's the parking lot where, spoiler alert, Jen Shaw got arrested. Like all I have to do to tell you to watch this show is that in the first like couple seasons alone, one woman is married to her step grandfather and the other woman gets arrested for fraud. Wow. Literally on this show. Like there's just like that enough should hook you. Yikes. And it only takes a couple episodes. So if you really want to watch it, especially if you're a friend that's never watched it and is interested, I will give you my Hey You login to try it out. Consider it my free trial. Because
yeah, wait, are we going to run a Talking Fast contest and give away your login information?
Yeah, just to see if like anybody wants to share. Look, I just think I was never a Housewives person before watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and it is like the best one ever. All celebs talk about it. Jennifer Lawrence was on Las Culturistas talking about it. Just it is culture. It is the moment. And if you have not watched it, I'm jealous because I wish I could wipe my brain and watch it all for the first time again.
I haven't, and maybe that's like if I have a knock on wood, I don't get sick. But if I have a sick day coming up, I'll commit here and now to at least watching a couple of episodes. So I'll give you my login,
watch a couple episodes, see how you feel. Well, remember when we did the Vanderpump? I had to show you the Vanderpump clip.
And honestly, it did hook me.
And it only had to be like a clip, and we sat there with Izzy and ended up watching the entire episode. So it's like it just. Has
I think that is honestly my worry is that like I think I would get too into it, and my screen time is already so high. I don't know if I can.
There's only 6. It's only season 6. It's only season 6. There's plenty. Okay, well with that then, what are you watching or reading if it's not Real Housewives of Salt Lake City?
Okay, it was something that was like equally dramatic, at least for the first half of the movie. I watched A House of Dynamite, which is the new Netflix movie directed by Catherine Bigelow, who did the old the Hurt Locker. She was correct me if I'm wrong, she was the first female director to win Best Director at the Oscars.
Yep.
It was good. Essentially, the premise is like, some unknown party has launched a nuclear missile at the United States, and then it was like the Situation Room and all the different parties that would be in that chain of command at the States, how they deal with that. And the first half had me, and I was like, this is interesting. This is like this is gripping right now. I want to know what happens next. And then as soon as we kind of tip toward the third act of the movie, I was like, if this movie ends in X way, I'm going to be pissed. And it ended the exact way that I thought it would. And it's like, I don't want to give it away because I think it's still probably worth a watch because it's well done. I just didn't like the ending. And I would have rather... I think what the ending is trying to do, you can get there on your own by just watching the movie anyway. And then if it gave you a more satisfying ending, you would still take away from it what I'm assuming Catherine Bigelow wants you to take away from it. So I'd recommend it's probably worth a watch.
Watching those types of movies though, like, isn't that like obviously there's like horror and scary movies, but aren't movies like that like scary because they feel a little too real and too close to home in the current climate that we are in?
100%. And a good portion of like, I think what the movie and the ending are trying to do is like, you have to answer the question or questions that it's asking you in your head, because it feels like a legitimate question that maybe sometime may need to be answered, you know? So it is a little off-putting in that way, but...
That's why, like, Don't Look Up, when that came out, it kind of freaked me out because I'm like, this just feels like a little too close to our current reality, and I didn't like it. But, okay, well,
also
I love her,
it's in a different way, it has a very similar ending to Don't Look Up, in that it's just like, fuck.
You're like, okay, great. All this for nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, A House of Dynamite. Dang. What are you listening to this week?
Okay, I don't know why he's coming out with an album when this comes out. No, it'll be next Friday. Youngblood. I'm listening to Youngblood, which is like the little rocker kid. He's not a kid. He's old-ish.
I don't think he's old. I think he's England. Like under 25. Like, I don't think he's that
old. But I was looking at his Spotify or his like discography. He has a decent number of albums and releases, and he's been collaborating with other artists for like a decent amount of time. So that's what I mean by old, is that it's not like it's his first album or something like that. I never gave him that too much of a chance, but I did start listening to a few tracks of his while I was training for the marathon, and I was like, you know what? I'm not a huge rock guy. Not to say that he's like pure rock, because there are pop elements to it, obviously. But I think what picked it up for me in the summer was when he performed as part of that like Ozzy Osbourne last show kind of tribute concert thing that they did. And I was like, damn, he has a really good voice. And then I gave in the car yesterday, like I said earlier, when I was driving down the highway, hoping to not crash, I was like, let me put on his last album, or that just got also nominated for Best Rock Album at the Grammys. It's good. It's giving me flashbacks of like, it's called Idols, giving me flashbacks of like my time in the early 2000s growing up listening to like My Chemical Romance and The Used and people and like bands like that. And I'm like, I'm glad that people who are probably younger than I am now and like getting into music have someone who is producing rock music like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I just looked at his age. He's a 97, so he's only a year younger than me. But I guess it does feel like he is the only artist that's really doing that style. That's at least at this level. That's this famous, because like everything else is really pop driven.
Yeah, and like, you know, when you see, I don't know, a lot of like popular artists these days, they'll like quote who their inspiration is, and maybe it's someone who's like a couple of years older, or like, you know, a sophomore to their junior or something like that. But for him, he's like quoting like Pink Floyd and Ozzy Osbourne, etc. Like Aerosmith, I think he's coming out with I think the album may even be like a collaborative album with Aerosmith. Did I make that up? I think so.
It would be
anyway,
cool.
I would say if you like any of those artists that I mentioned, I would say definitely give them a shot, and it's good. And then look out for his new album. What about you? What are you listening to this week?
Well, just as I was in the depths of despair, being sick on the couch, Kelsey Ballerini decided to drop a little single and announce a little EP. it's her best work is when she does these like little EPs, and like I say little, but I just mean because they're short, obviously. And you can tell it's because it's coming from a place of she absolutely needed to like write this music or put it out and not wait for a full album cycle. That's how we got Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, which was her divorce EP. And
that one was so good, by the way. I listened to that back to back.
It's amazing. And so this is the thing. This comes at an interesting time because there's still rumor and speculation that her and Chase Stokes broke up. Now there's rumor that they might be back together. So I'm curious as to like what the sound of this EP is going to be, just because she's very honest in her songwriting. Like she tells you how it is. And so this song that she just dropped, I got really excited because I thought she was dropping the full EP this week. Turns out it was just the one song, but the song is wonderful. It's called I Sit in Parks. And the whole concept of it is her sitting in a park, looking at like a young couple that's like her age that have kids and thinking, is everything that she's done like to get to this point in her career, she's on the right path. She like just did her first stadium tour. She's like really hitting her stride right now. But what cost is it coming at? It's coming at the cost of, is it going to be too late for her to have kids and have a family? And that's something that she really wants. And it's a really vulnerable, like raw song. It reminds me of, Fence Sitter that Lindsay L came on the show to talk about. I was just gonna mention
Lindsay L. Yeah.
So it's very similar. The difference with Lindsay's is hers is like talking about I don't know, like I'm sitting on the fence, I don't know what I want. And Kelsey's is like very much retrospective of like she knows she wants those things, but also two things can be true. You can want to be a huge successful artist, but also want children. And it's like, how do you find a way to make both of those fit? And if this is the first single, then I'm very curious as to what the rest of the EP is going to sound like, because like it's already so beautiful and raw, and it's giving like the sound, because I thought Kelsey was going to go way more pop in this next era, whatever, and she might. This is an EP, so it's different. It's giving Casey Musgraves. Like you should listen to this song, Jacob, and tell me it doesn't sound like a Casey Musgraves. Like this could have been slotted onto.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because it's like, is it too close or is it?
Yeah. No. Because it's still her voice. Like it sounds like different enough, but I just would say like the energy of it kind of fills the hole of when we don't have new Casey Musgraves music. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's what it's.
I also do like the kind of. I know it's the definition of an EP, but like I like an EP with like 4 or 5 songs. You know what I mean? Like releasing music these days, sometimes you have like an album with 24 songs plus on there. You're looking at you, Taylor Swift, and then you have.
And we're grateful for that. We love that. We love 30 songs. It's even great, enough, in my sometimes opinion. Give me more.
I'm just saying there are other ends. There's like the huge album versus just an artist that's like, I'm purely singles and releasing singles. I do like, give me a concept EP.
Exactly.
That's a real tight 4 or 5 songs. I like that.
Well, especially when it's like
we're talking about.
I was just going to say, especially when it's like this and it's clear that it's like, you're such a singer-songwriter, you want to release this music because like, you like need to and you feel it, as opposed to like you're not doing it to hit an album quota, you know? Like
well,
it feels
that's what
like
I was
going to
say too dropped. Is like you can have an artist can then like they could genre bend a little bit and it doesn't get counted as a flop or something like that with your next album. It's an easier way to like give fans a maybe a different side of you, or just like explore one little topic that you don't want to dedicate a whole album to.
Completely agree. But anyways, it's really good. I'm excited.
Sarah, what's something you did this week?
On Saturday night, I ended up at the Madison Avenue pub.
Which is crazy.
The Maddie, otherwise known. And look,
we got to give a little, for anyone who's not from Toronto and hasn't been to the Maddie.
That's true.
Give us a little background. I think maybe one of the best examples of what the Maddie is the video from St. Patrick's Day, this past St. Patrick's Day that went viral, where like it's someone playing live music in this one front room, and the Madison Avenue pub has just like, it's in 2 old Victorian style houses that it's a lot of different rooms, and you can get lost in there very easily. And anyway, in this video, some guy just falls through the ceiling of the floor above and like comes crashing down while this guy's playing guitar, and then just gets up and walks away. It's a place where a lot of like hectic things happen.
Yeah, so the Maddie is an institution. It's a U of T. It's primarily a U of T bar is the best way to describe it, because it is like on U of T's campus. Like it's in like the area of all those houses. But I will say, like, as a TMU student, like, equally it felt like ours just because we just went there all the time. It is an institution, and so they have different rooms. As Jacob said, there's like a DJ room, there's a pool bar upstairs, there's a whole back patio, downstairs there's like sitting lounge area, and then there's the piano man room, and that's what we go for. So we were down the street at Haley's birthday. We got kicked out of the party room at like 12:30. We're like, the night is still young, why don't we go to the piano man room? We ended up getting there till like 1:30, so we really only had like an hour to like chill. But it was like, first of all, we were all so concerned about cover. I'm like, I'm not paying a cover to get in, as like we're all the adults who can actually probably afford a cover.
That's just flashback as a university student.
For
it's
sure,
trauma
for sure.
showing up. Yeah.
So we go in and then also what was such a typical Maddie experience was there were so many of us there, and like some people got there earlier and like we lost each other. I'm like sending photos of where I am in the bar, like in the group chat, to be like, this is where I'm this is where I'm standing, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we went to the piano man room. It was very fun. They play all the same classic hits. You know, you hear Billy Joel.
Yeah.
You hear some Elton John. Like, it's all the hits.
Like the piano room there's a piano there and someone's playing.
It's a guy playing the piano and everyone stands around the piano, and you can pay him money to like play special songs for you or whatever. So we were realizing we hadn't been back since Nolan got called to the bar back in like 2021 or 2022. And that was the last time we went, and it was lots of fun. We were only there for like an hour and a bit, so perfect amount of time. And then we stopped and got street meat on the way home. It just felt like a typical Maddie night. And I will say, I was worried I was going to feel ancient in there, but the piano man room always has like older people. Like, I feel like it's like a very, like, if alumni or like people that are a little bit older and like want to be nostalgic about going to the Maddie, they go back to the piano man room. I did not dare go into any of the other floors. Could not, but the piano man room is always a safe space.
I do like that. I also think, I mean, we talked about this maybe on a previous episode with the Imperial, like closer to TMU closing down now. I feel like the Maddie, like you say, might get some more business with like alumni looking for a little flashback of nostalgia to their place. But I think if you go to the Maddie next time, maybe just like put air tags on all your friends so you know where they are at
you have to. There's too many rooms in that place. There's too many rooms. Anyways, it's an institution, and I love a cheeky Maddie night. What about you? What's something that you did?
Well, I didn't have a cheeky Maddie night, but maybe that's going to be on my schedule coming up. I went to Bar Vendetta, a Gen Egg hotspot. I've talked about it on the podcast previously, I think. I was talking to Ben and Amanda the other night about like the best Italian spots in Toronto. Mm-hmm. And there are the classics that I think people think of when they're going out, and maybe that's like Gusto 101 or Gusto 501.
Sugo.
Or Sugo, or the Tironi spots, or Piano even maybe. There are a bunch of like Italian spots. But I would say that Bar Vendetta is maybe even a little slept on when it comes to pasta in the city. I had the rigatoni and like hot peppers. It was one of the best dishes I've had in a long time. Oh, wow. It was good. And then also their burrata is good. What else we have? Olives, obviously. How can you miss with olives? And it was great. Haley and I just a quick double date, and I did feel bad for Haley and Coleman there because we I don't know if you've met Ilham before, but she also ran her first marathon in Toronto, and it's tough to do a catch up with runner friends because sometimes you take over the conversation and just talk about the marathon afterward. So apologies for that, but if anyone's looking for a nice cozy spot, speaking of this cozy weather that we're having, if anyone's looking for a nice cozy spot to go and get like a pretty low-key but delicious meal, I have to shout out Bar Vendetta.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know Bar Vendetta was Italian food, so that does go to say that it's underrated. I just didn't know what type of cuisine it was. I've never been. Exactly.
Yeah, give it a shot if you haven't. Amazing pasta, and then also if you're into wine, just like an incredible wine list as well, and then good cocktails too. Good cocktails and very unpretentious at the same time. So I like it.
Love that. And finally, what's something that you're loving this week?
Okay, for me, this is like a consistent one, but I was up at the cottage this weekend, and one thing that I love to do is like cosplay, as someone who spends his days emailing and like text messaging and watching TikToks for work, I love cosplaying as like a blue collar person, because I just like, none of my work is going to give me calluses on like a everyday basis. But I have been loving just like the little projects that have to get done up and around the cottage. So we were like, hit Home Depot, got some caulking to be able to like seal the beams that have expanded at the cottage. Oh, there was a mice problem, so we got to like seal up this thing with some screening. You got to DIY a little bit. That's what I'm loving. I'm enjoying it. And I put on my... Oh, also one thing though that I did mess up was I got the caulking, like the silicone, all over my winter jacket, like my like nice kind of classic warm jacket. So I'm in the market now for a new jacket. So if anyone has any recommendations, let me know.
What was your previous jacket from? Like, where was
it? It was from Mech, and I really liked it because it was like it was low profile, black, just like something that is really warm for like walking around type of days. We're not talking like going out or anything like that, but yeah, could be a puffer, could be anything. I don't know if I'm like necessarily an Aritzia puffer. Well,
what I was going to say is low key Marks has dupes of all like the most famous jacket brands and whatever, and like really like at a quarter of the price, and they're great quality because it's like Denver Haze and stuff, so it's like actually really good quality.
Okay, that's a good shout actually, because I am in the market. I need to pick up some new Levi's, and they carry all that, right?
Yeah. So
it sounds like an ad, but it's not.
It's not. It's just two birds, one stone. Yeah.
Amazing, Sarah. What's something you're loving this week?
Well, I was like, I think it was like pre-marathon or maybe around that time. I was like, I have no travel coming up. I'm liking being at home, blah, blah, blah. We all knew that was never going to last. So aside from the fact that by the time this comes out in 2 days, I'm leaving for the Bahamas this week to go on a quick little rip out to the Bahamas for a few days, which I kept forgetting about until I finally was able to tell Haley that we're going. But what else?
Oh, how did she react? This was a surprise trip.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, she didn't really understand or believe me at first, so the reaction was a lot of like, what is happening? Which was very funny. And then afterwards it hit her, and then like it was very cute. But we're going for just like a long weekend, like an extra long weekend, which is really fun. And also now that there's all this snow on the ground to get me out of that. But also say is like, then I'm like, okay, but then I need another trip and I need another one. So then Tara and I are like flirting with the idea of going on a little Europe trip in the beginning of December.
Whoa, wait, where are we talking? Like, where are we talking?
Christmas markets.
Oh,
we're thinking about it. And by thinking about it, I mean like I have a mock itinerary of what we could do.
Wait, are we talking multiple countries or just one quick stop?
Yeah, we're talking like three countries.
Are we going to Austria?
Yeah, it would be like Germany. Strasbourg, France is like the Christmas capital of the world. So that would be one. So it'd be like Germany, like go to Munich and Frankfurt, Strasbourg, and then Vienna, Austria. So anyways, it might not happen. And I might just be like talking a bunch of bullshit right now, but we are flirting with the idea of going. So we'll see. This is an exclusive for the pod because I won't talk about it unless we actually go.
Do it. You know what? This is going to come out, like you said, in 2 days on Wednesday. And
by Wednesday, I'm either going to have a flight booked.
Yeah, I'm going to say, anyone who's listening to this right now, you've probably already seen Sarah confirm that she's going and the flight's booked.
Yeah, there's a very real chance of that. So I just have to confirm some work things to make sure that there's no last minute travel needed or anything like that, which I don't think there is. And then the other side note of trip planning is that I bought my flight for going to Nova Scotia for Christmas. Flying on Christmas Day, cheap as hell.
Wait, are you flying on Christmas Day?
Yeah, because Nolan's like family celebrates Christmas Eve, and then his parents live near the airport, so we're gonna stay over there. Then we're flying out at like noon on Christmas Day.
That's gonna be fun. Wait, I'm excited already for the Christmas vlog. What the hell? That's gonna be the most fun thing to watch on Christmas.
I know. Christmas, traveling on Christmas Day. Like I'm Santa Claus.
Okay, you got to start prepping your playlist for that travel. We need like...
That's true.
Run, Rudolph, of course.
I know, and I also feel like I should bring some like gifts for the flight attendants because like it's Christmas, you know?
Oh, that's classy. Yeah.
So anyways, but I'm just in trip planning mode right now. So we're figuring it all out. And the girl that says she's not a big Christmas person, I might become a major Christmas energy and vibe over the next month. We'll see.
That's fun. Okay, I actually fell into this in the last couple of days too, because Haley actually is in Costa Rica right now, and so I was sending her photos of all the snow on the ground, and she's like, okay, have fun. Like, I'm in the ocean right now. It's 25 degrees. So yeah, get me out of here too.
Yeah, we need somewhere warm. All right, we didn't get through all of our questions last time for our voicemail, so we wanted to just dive in to the mailbag, voicemail, whatever, and finish answering your questions. As a reminder, I send call outs on the broadcast channel, POV or My Close Friends, if you want to join us. And then also you can message us on Instagram at talkingfastshow, or shoot us an email if you have something really juicy you want us to talk about.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, we're still waiting for some more like breakups, potential
really
breakups, and we do need a follow. Yeah, we need a follow up on that one.
Yeah.
Did you move to Vancouver? Did you break up with your partner? We need to know.
Did he move to Vancouver with you? Who knows what happened? So we also love updates if you follow our advice, but also don't update us if it went badly, maybe because we don't want to be liable.
No, especially update us if it went badly. If you're heartbroken Jacob, or you had to move back or something.
Jacob, I mean, if we gave them advice and they followed it and then it went badly, I don't want to be liable for that.
I'm going to say, send us an update. Send us an email that you have an update, and then I'll send you a liability release to sign, and then give us the details.
That's the most manager thing you can say.
We do have the first question here, Sarah, and this is one that I was excited to ask because we haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, and I think last time we were recording, you were continuing your somewhat binge of Suits, your first watch of Suits. So give us an update. Where are you in terms of watching the series?
I don't think we can call it a somewhat binge because I'm halfway through season 6 right now. Almost at season 7. I'm almost at season 7, actually. I think I only have one episode left. I'll finish it today. Then I'll be on season 7. And there's only 9 seasons.
Yeah, you're basically there. Same thing. You're going to be booking flights on the other side of this. By Wednesday, you'll be nearly done the series. Exactly. Someone has asked, who is your favorite Suits character now that you're a little bit further in the series or a season or show? Where do your favorites lie?
I mean, all-time fave always is Harvey. Duh. He is the show. The show is nothing without Harvey Specter. And I think I ebb and flow with a lot of other characters. Like Rachel Zane, I really ebb and flow with because I think she's sometimes annoying. Also, Lewis. This is maybe controversial, but does that mimic the real life actress ? Oh, like how people feel about her, how they like ebb and flow. Yeah. Honestly, I would say yes. And maybe that's it. That's like her personality and just like what comes through. But Rachel as a character is just like, she ebbs and flows. She's kind of annoying sometimes. And I just like, I don't know. Like I don't know. She's like iffy. Lewis, I hate that I ebb and flow with Lewis too. Like one episode I love him, one episode I can't stand him. Donna's always a consistent, love Donna, and Harvey's consistent. Honestly, at this point, all I'm waiting for, and the only reason I'm continuing to like binge through it so quickly, is I'm just waiting for Harvey and Donna to fall in love, and it's really annoying me how long it's taking. Like actually, I didn't care about Rachel and Mike falling in love at all. I was like, whatever, that was.
Yeah, if anything, I would say Rachel, you just need to slap Mike a few more times. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Someone's got to put Mike in his place other than Harvey.
Yeah, well, Mike's funny as a character because it's like he talks about like doing good and wanting to be a better person, and then like literally he just got out of prison. It's also, some people stopped watching after like a certain episode.
They're like,
I'm
wait,
like,
what?
there's spoilers here, but this show's been out for like a decade. Like he's just out of prison and he's like, I'm gonna go work at this clinic and be a good person, and now he's already finding a way to scam himself back into the bar association. I'm like, what are we doing?
I know. What are we doing?
And then Jessica Pearson just left. I loved Jessica. So anyways, I'm deep.
The upper management side of things starts to get a little bit. It's a classic case of like a show where they have to make changes just to like keep things fresh. It lasts a little too long. Yeah, exactly.
Like I learned last night that there was a spin-off show of Jessica. Like Jessica had a spin-off show called
really?
Called Pearson. It only lasted 1 season.
Ooh. I've never seen it.
And then also Suits LA.
You watch it, did you?
No, I just like learned last night that there was one. And then Suits LA only lasted one season. So anyways, there's all these like, all to say is all of it crumbles if there's no Harvey Specter, because he's the best character in the show and he also steals every scene that he's in. So that's why he's my favorite character.
Dude, I might be making this up, but I saw a rumor somewhere that what's the actor's name?
To hell if I know. Which one?
It's like Emilio or something.
I can look that up in 2 seconds. It's what the internet's for.
I heard a rumor that the actor that plays Harvey is like quite short.
Short?
It's not really a rumor. I guess people have met him.
Gabriel Mach, Macht. How do I pronounce that?
Yeah. How tall is he? How tall does it say he is?
Gabriel.
Sarah's looking this up on
the internet
online really quickly.
Gabriel Mach height 1.84. I hate when they do meters.
Oh my god! Listen, I get it.
Now I have to go meters to feet. Now I have to go meters to feet. Okay, 1.84. No, he's 6 feet.
No. Okay, that has to be a lie. This has to be a lie. This is a conspiracy
No, you could figure this out pretty quickly. Didn't you on the pod as recently as last week talk about, you name dropped that the guy that plays Mike Ross came to one of your raves? How tall was he?
Patrick J. Adams, he was medium height. Like a regular height.
Like your height? Okay, now on screen, think of how much taller Harvey is than him. Always.
I guess, but they put Hagrid on screen and like in Harry Potter, and that guy's a regular
They're not
size man.
doing a Hagrid on Suits. They don't even have the time to like stop a streetcar from going by. They're not working on like Hagrid. Like they're not trying that hard.
Okay, I'm gonna take this back. Hope for the best. I regret this line of this thread that I pulled on.
Well, I will say he gives like 6'5" energy. He doesn't give 6 feet.
6'5".
That's the energy he gives. As Harvey Specter, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess Specter does command quite a bit of presence. Anyways. Okay, let's jump to the next question, Sarah. We have a juicy one here.
Okay, don't say juicy when someone's talking about getting laid off.
Well, that's juicy in today's market. You know, it's a tough
juicy
time
just makes it sound like gossip. Juicy.
Okay, it's not gossip. It's not gossip, but it's more impactful and something that we can maybe empathize more with than my line of questioning around some actor's height. This is the question that we have in voicemail. I recently got laid off and I'm struggling in the job market to find a new full-time opportunity. What are some tips What are some tips you have to stay positive and to keep advancing myself in my career, even if full-time work is tough to come by right now? I think that this is something that a lot of people are struggling with. Mm-hmm. Either they have employment and maybe they're not happy and they're stressful because it's tough out there to find a new job.
It's not really the time to leave a job.
Or, they've been laid off and are struggling to find work. So a two-parter here. How can this person stay positive? And then what are some tips that we can give them to maybe advance their career and keep it moving forward?
Okay, well, staying positive, I'm a firm believer in people that are good people and work hard will always find work and always find a way for that to happen. It might not be the exact role that you were in before or the same like exact role, but sometimes you have to sidestep in order just to like keep the lights on, literally, essentially. So as someone that has been laid off before, I know that feeling though, when you're like, I don't know, like it's a weird like perception thing that happens, right? Because so much of our perception of ourselves is tied to work and what we do. Because one of the first questions people ask you when they meet you is, oh, what do you do for work? Or like, what do you do? And so when you don't have an answer for that, that's also really difficult, right? So I would say as a way to keep positive, like just what's like one little thing you can do every day to like put yourself in the right direction, whether that's connecting with a person on LinkedIn. I don't know what industry you're in, so this is also a little bit different, but like, or maybe it's beefing up your resume, or maybe it's you have time now. Is there like a hard skill you've wanted to learn for a while because you have that time? And instead of like sitting around and not doing anything with it, like what's a way that we can, like literally the reason I started TikTok was because I was unemployed and wanted to learn it as a hard skill, and then it became a whole job, right? So sometimes when you have this time, it can be a blessing into like also like looking at like evaluating like what you want to be doing and if there is anything new that you could be learning. that will help you out, or even if it's like not directly related to work, but if there's something you've always wanted to like learn how to do, like now would be the time to do it because you have the time and mental capacity.
I would agree with that too. I think that like it's really easy for someone to get bogged down with just like, I need to be sending out resumes, I need to be connecting with hiring managers, I need to be having those coffee chats to try to network, to maybe get, you know, my name put forward for an opportunity, or just like get an understanding of if there are jobs available at certain companies and that sort of thing, which is important for sure. But like, if it's not working out, yeah, I would agree. How else can you allocate your time where you feel like you're advancing a little bit? And sometimes that just means, like you say, exploring your passions a little bit. And who knows, maybe you'll develop a few new skills that can then be transferred to a new job, or maybe even if you're following a hobby, you'll make a new connection with someone who 100%. Through a social connection or a new friend, something like that, right, might have a job opportunity if your current connections have been exhausted. I wouldn't like overlook the kind of social stuff, or even going out or something like that, or just like having spending time with your friends and leaning on that network as opposed to just leaning into the more like traditionally professional side of things, which especially in this market, I think if you can build connections that will then be champion for you when getting recommended for a job or something like that, sometimes that's a lot easier and applicable to probably any, you know, type of job or job niche, as opposed to, you know, what maybe feels like sending your resume out into like an unknown pit that you might never hear back from.
And also, like, this talks about like finding like a full-time job. Obviously, like that's what most people want, and I understand, like, and also what most people need to live and everything, but also sometimes finding like a part-time or contract gig opportunity here or there. Like, I think people forget that like anyone can freelance, or anyone can, like, in any industry can take on like contract work, part-time work, whatever. And sometimes that's a good way also to like meet new people, and then those then turn into other opportunities that could turn into full-time work down the road. Like, that's
100%.
with
yeah, I mean, like you say, there's sometimes you just need to keep the lights on, and if that's like picking up a retail job around the holidays or something like that, or you know, a couple of shifts or like close to home at like a local retailer or something like that, that is always a positive, because if you can make sure that like your basic needs are being cared for, like you have enough money to kind of put food on your table and pay your rent and that kind of stuff, those are like the most basic things that you probably need to cover as you continue to search for what your next like big full-time thing is going to be. And I wouldn't necessarily like get down on yourself if that isn't a job that you want to pursue long term, because sometimes you just need to like take care of the basics, and make sure that you're not like getting too stressed out financially, before you find whatever's going to be next, which, you know, is probably right around the corner.
And I would just say, like, don't be afraid to ask people for help. I know like losing a job is like, there's like a lot of, there shouldn't be, but there's shame involved in it, and I totally understand. But like, don't be afraid to like ask people for help, ask people to read over your resume, ask people to like send in a referral, ask people. Most people want to help you, especially in your network. So don't be afraid to ask.
100%. Yeah, throw that up on your Instagram story. I've seen a decent amount of people that I follow on Instagram like put that up and be like, hey, listen, I'm out of work right now, I'm looking for something. And like, there are so many people, myself included, I've done this, where it's like, if you see someone and you empathize with that, which I think most people probably would empathize with that, they're gonna start to get to work for you. So yeah, put it out as wide as possible. For sure.
I have another question here, kind of in the same vein, like it's in like the same, it's a good pivot for the conversation that we're having right now. I'm a gal in my early 20s and I feel so far behind in life. I'm currently studying my master's in HR, and what would your advice be for people who feel pressure to who feel this pressure of not having everything figured out yet? She said early 20s. Girl, you are so fine.
Girl, you're even totally fine.
Early 20s, I know. It's like, I feel like, actually I will say, I feel like early 20s is when you feel this pressure the most, because you've just left like university, or you're like this girl's in her master's, you've just left university. So you're at this like stage where like you've always had this, like, we've talked about this a million times. You've had this structure. You've had this like consistent like, you know where you were going to be every single year, you know, like what's going to be coming next September, all of this. So your life is figured out for you and it's planned out for you. And then your early 20s is the first time in your life where you're truly on your own, where it's like there's no more school structure to follow, there's no more expectations to follow, you can kind of do whatever you want. And that's where I think people get lost in the sauce of it, and it gets really overwhelming on like, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm supposed to have stuff figured out, whatever that means, because that's irrelevant. No one has anything figured out.
And there are going to be also at that time in your life, there are going to be not a ton, there's going to be a very small amount of outliers, like friends or people that you went to school with who have, for whatever reason, fallen into like a really good, their dream job or something, or they're making a ton of money, or they just bought a house because who knows, maybe they had like their parents' money to fall back on and they got like a little bit of help there. And it's when 95% of your friends and you fall into one boat of like, oh God, like I don't know what I'm gonna do next. And then there's like those two other people that you kind of see on a regular basis, like living what you think your dream is, but you feel so far from achieving that. Comparison is so tough. And like those people that have, quote unquote, have it figured out early on, if you're just comparing yourself to them, that's not doing you any service, honestly.
But also, like, Jacob, going back to like the last question, I'll say it. I was one of those people that, like, for perception wise, on the outside, right out of school, looked like I had everything figured out. I got a dream gig first. Was the first one to get like a full-time producing gig right out of school. All of this stuff. It looks like I have it all figured out. But then on a random Wednesday, I got laid off 2 years into that job. So then suddenly you think you have it all figured out, and then life throws a curveball at you, and then you're like back where everyone else is. So I don't think there's ever actually everyone who has it figured out regardless, because like something like that can happen so quickly. And so I think the beauty of like being young is time, right? Like you're in your early 20s, you have time to like mess around, get a master's, figure out what you want to do. Like you have the time and freedom to be able to like figure out everything you love doing, you don't love doing, like whatever. And it's never too late to go try new things. And I just think the facade of anyone having it figured out is out the window now. I think more people are honest about that. It's not how it works anymore. And also that traditional landscape of like you go to school, then you get married, then you buy a house, and like whatever is also been blown up for a multitude of reasons, but mostly like financial. So you kind of get to choose your own adventure, and that's like the most exciting thing about being in your early 20s.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things too is like, even if those kind of boxes to check are something that you really, really want in life, you know, settling down with someone that, like a partner that you love, buying a house, getting a dog, having kids, those are all fine things that you want to achieve as like life milestones that are kind of the more traditional ones. But like as someone now in his mid 30s, where a lot of friends kind of went and did those things, I have such interesting people in my life who like they maybe went and checked a bunch of those boxes, but are now completely reinventing themselves still. I think like one of the other things to remember is like, even if you feel behind, once you get to that like perceived finish line, that's not like you're just set up for the rest of your life and that's the end goal. You have so much time and the opportunity at any point in your life to completely reinvent yourself. Obviously, if you have kids or something, it's like, okay, well, you have to continue to like support those kids and whatnot. But like, I think oftentimes that finish line is something that a lot of people are striving for, but they don't see what's beyond that, which is like, you know, not throwing it out the window, but like allowing yourself to go in a different direction, and that being totally fine.
But also like, this might be like morbid and like a little intense, but it's like when people are like behind on what like the finish line, unfortunately, and I hate to break it to you guys because it happens to all of us, is death. So like, it's the truth.
It's true though.
So like, what are we behind, rushing towards this out? Like, what are we like? I'm not trying to make time go by any faster. I'm not trying to like rush or feel like I'm behind in any aspect of anything, because like, behind on what? It's a race of like our race against yourself in life, and the only how that's gonna end. So like, I hate the thought of like being quote unquote behind, because there is no being like behind. Like you're not like a child that's in a developmental stage right now anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's difference when a child that's in a developmental stage that's like behind on learning because they need to hit certain things in order to become like a full-fledged functioning adult. But you as a full-fledged functioning adult are not behind on anything. And I don't understand why we're like, and I used to be this way. So I get it because I used to be this way. I was like, I'm so behind. I'm running out of time. I don't have this, blah, 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 blah. But like once you like sit back and you're like, whoa, time one isn't even real. So you can do whatever you want in it. And then two, what is this like finish line I'm rushing towards? The end? No thanks. So
I think the other thing that I'll say too is on like being the proactive side of it, of like, okay, let's also be supportive of like, if you do want to achieve certain goals, there are things that you can do. And I think that a lot of times people get paralyzed in looking at just the end goal that they want to achieve and having kind of like a paralysis around not taking any steps then to achieve that. That can like, especially in today's like dating scene, for example, if you want to like find your wife or husband or whoever, your partner that you're going to settle down with long term, you got to go on some dates, you know?
Yeah.
Like people just expect, I hope that, you know, the love of my life walks into my life. It's like, well, yeah, but you also have to be nice.
Right.
But you
like
gotta start. Yes. You gotta like lay the foundation and take some steps and do the work. And like maybe that's getting on a dating app or like going on some bad dates with some people who suck. You know, that you have to, if you want to achieve certain things, you also have to put up the
action
money
items,
for that
like,
bet.
Yeah. And put things into place for sure. And I also think that's where social media plays a huge factor, right? Where it's like you're comparing yourself to all these other people, but it's like also like you sitting there comparing yourself isn't going to do anything. Like if you're like, you have to like at a certain point, yes, we can talk about how like social media is a highlight reel and there's this and that, but at a certain point to want things in your life or like to do the things that you want to do, you have to like actually like put in the work to do it as well.
A lot of people want to be like a quote unquote influencer or a content creator.
Yeah,
and
I was
like
going to say that was TikToks. A great example.
And I saw this last night because I forget who it was, but a creator in Toronto got asked this in a video, and they were answering some stuff in their comments. I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter because this is such a common occurrence for content creators. It's like they'll get asked a question, how do you get over like the embarrassment of posting, or like how do you get to the point where like you're making money off of brand deals and this and that. And this is applicable to literally any goal that you have in your life. It's like you have to just have very little shame about something. And if you're not practicing it and you're going out and trying it, there is 0% chance that you will achieve something that you want to achieve.
100%.
0%. Like if you want to be a content creator, you have to post regular videos. You just have to go out and do it. And a lot of times it's like speaking it into existence is one thing, but actually practicing it into existence is another. Like you can say,
100%.
This is my dream person that I want to end up with. But like, again, on the dating thing, if you're not going out to grab drinks with someone who's going to suck and you're going to say, I wasted my night, you're not going to get there.
It's the same as like, think of how many, like I literally have an archive of every single video I've ever posted. And I've posted over 6,000 videos on TikTok. 6,000.
That's so many videos.
If you did the math on how many, like how much money I've made in my TikTok career now versus how much those videos, it would probably, I wouldn't want to know that math because of like how much like each video's value is technically worth, because you have to do so much stuff that doesn't do well and so much stuff that flops before. You're right. At a certain point, it's like you just have to spend less time comparing and thinking about what everyone else is doing and just do your own thing. And then good stuff happens. Like it's totally. You gotta like
reframe it from like how am I behind to how can I take the next step to get where I want to go. Like,
and not even a big step, just like your next baby step. Like how can I do? It's like what we said earlier about the yes. Being laid off thing. How can I do one thing today that will get me in the direction I want to go? As somebody that like, I'm a big, like I set 10-year goals or I set like 5-year goals. I don't set like really I set some yearly goals, but like my goals are mostly long-term. And when you have those, it really helps be like, it helps you have like a North Star on like, what can I do today that will help me achieve that? And it could be the littlest thing. Like it could be the smallest little thing. But yeah, I think you're right. Like reframing it from why am I behind? Why isn't it happening for me? To how can I what can I control and how can I make this work in whatever context it is, whether that's being a creator, whether that's dating, whether that's your career, whether it's musician, whatever it might be.
Absolutely.
Wow, we're kind of like soapboxy.
I feel like
today.
that was good. Yeah.
I feel like we're a little soapboxy, but I don't mind it. I have one more question that I want us to answer just because it's in the same realm of all the topics we've been talking about today. And then we'll wrap it up because I can feel the congestion in my nose starting to stop my breathing. I've been talking for too long. This last one kind of goes in the same like vein. It's how to balance the need to constantly feel productive while giving myself time to relax.
Ooh, I don't know if I'm the best person to do this. I don't know if you are either, because like I feel like I feel like I'm constantly falling forward, and then like once I hit my face on the ground, then I realize, okay, I should take some time back to reset. But I'm not good at like setting up a good routine to not fall into that trap.
It goes back to what I said at the very beginning, where I'm a very reactive person instead of proactive most of the time, in the sense of like, could I take the vitamin C every day to ensure I don't get sick? No, instead I don't start panicking about it until I am sick. I think I'm kind of the same way when it comes to like productivity. Like it's once I've done so much that I feel like almost like exhausted, that my body's like, you need to just like calm down and like shut down, you're exhausted, that I like burn myself out a little bit to the extreme. And it's literally something my therapist and I talk about on a weekly basis pretty much, because she's like, you know this is going to happen, why are you like doing it? And it's just like the hamster wheel that I'm in. I will say I think there are ways to like I think time blocking is a thing. There are ways to then like lean into when you're feeling productive, not forcing yourself to feel productive all the time, whatever that does mean. Allowing yourself to have like whatever a certain amount of hours every single night that are dedicated to just like you time, even if like the house isn't clean, even if you didn't get that last thing of work done, just allowing yourself that time. But I will say I am not probably the best example, because I will say since I have my own schedule, I've been a little bit better with it, because I can lean into my time of not feeling productive, like my non-productivity days, a little bit more, because I don't physically have to be anywhere. So that's like selfishly a very like, it's something I
think that those non-productive days that's maybe my best tip, is like, if I'm in one of those, like, okay, I'm sitting down and I have a little bit of a break time now, I will take that. Like if there's been a busy 2-week run, for example, and like all of a sudden there are a couple days where there's nothing that's like super pressing, I'll be a little bit more gentle with myself on that to-do list of like, okay, let's maybe knock off a couple of them, as opposed to trying to keep that momentum up. But the tough thing is I also feel like I'm a momentum guy, where like if I'm in the zone when it comes to working and I'm like, oh, I just banged out all of these emails, oh, I have some creative ideas for like these things that I need to do, let me just write out those all at one time. It's easier for me to knock off that to-do list if I'm already rolling. But then I agree. The burnout comes so quickly after that, because it's like, okay, I just worked, maybe it's like working 12-hour, 14-hour days for like 3 days in a row. And at the end of that, wow, you accomplished so much. But then also it's like, okay, at what cost? Because then that third day or that fourth day, what do you have left to kind of give type of thing? It's
kind of it's the extremism of it. I do the same thing. Like I find I can either I'm like one extreme or the other. I either have a day where I'm like, I rarely have a day where I just do like one thing on a to-do list. Like that doesn't really exist for me. Like it's either I'm doing 14 things or I'm doing 0 and I'm like tapped out. And I've done so much stuff in the 14 that it gets me through the rest of the week. So I don't know. I feel like I think at a certain point, part of it might be a personality thing. Like I know people that are not like I have friends that are not like this, and they can like shut off and not like and disassociate from it. I have been trying forever, but also say is I don't think I'm the best person to give advice. I try to create boundaries and I try to create time and space, like having a bath, those types of things where it's like I'm not on my phone, I can be removed from it, reading. But then again, I've like totally fallen off of reading right now because I'm in a Suits binge. But I just think that there's ways to set yourself up to not feel like you have to, and also just you don't have to be productive 24/7. Again, like
I think that
good
like
to get your
probably
goals, but like for what?
Yeah, and setting somewhat boundaries. I mean, for case in point, we have a text thread for Talking Fast, and we were talking yesterday about, or we're just like essentially tossing out some messages around coordinating this recording essentially. And I'm like, I was just getting back into the car after stopping in the middle of the road trip, and I was like, oh, I should pull over again to answer this. And I'm like, no, actually probably not. Let me just get back to this in a few hours. Sometimes it's just like set, and it's like, you guys aren't upset about that by any means.
No.
Like, you're
and I would say last night was like an exception, because I normally, and Jacob's known this forever, we kind of have like a, I wouldn't say unspoken rule. It kind of just happened early on. I think it came from my like working at 9 to 5 before this. Like, we don't really text after like 5 p.m. you and I, unless it's like I have to be posting something, or I'm at something, or there's something like urgent. Even though this job is not a 9 to 5 job, like you and I kind of have that. I know not all your clients do that, but you and I kind of have that understanding. So even yesterday, that's why like I was like, oh, this feels weird texting on a Sunday night. That's why I just kept being like, guys, we'll deal with this tomorrow morning. I go, this is not a Sunday night issue. So yeah, I think that's like a boundary that maybe it's like that's been in place that you just like unintentionally set. I think that's helpful. Just things like that where it's like, you're right, that's not urgent. Like, you don't have to pull over when you're in a snowstorm on the side of the road to answer a message about what time are we going to do a virtual record that you and I can text and set up in 15 minutes, right? But sometimes when you're in the mindset, it's hard not to feel like every single thing has to be done immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And there is something to be said about like, okay, if we would have had this scheduled sooner, or any of these like small things that we're talking about, like it would be easy to accomplish these quicker if you were constantly on. But then you'll probably die a lot sooner, if you're constantly 100%. On. You have to be
you're
off
gonna have,
a few times.
you're bound to have a heart attack at that point. So anyways, all it's to say is, again, if I'm going back to my morbid thing, all this productivity for what? We're all ended up in the same place anyways.
Should we? Yeah, we talked about this previously. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on like the finish line, the shared finish line of everyone.
I think we have to, because you and I have like talked about that before, and we've joked about it, but like I'm very much like fascinated in talking about that. So if people want it, we can
I honestly like talking about it.
I do too. It pulls the air out of it a little bit, because it's like this glooming thing that like we all think about subconsciously in the back of our head. So why not just like,
and it ties into other stuff that is also important to talk about. It's mental health, it's grief, it's relationships and mentorship, and all sorts of like little small things that tie into that.
Exactly. Wow, this was like a way deeper voicemail than I thought we were going to get, with me just like sitting on the floor of my living room, but I kind of loved it for our first virtual episode. It worked out.
I know, the snow day episode.
The snow day episode. Let us know if you liked this episode of Talking Fast by giving us a 5-star review, because we still don't have enough of those and I'm not happy about it. So make sure you go like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you have to do. If you're a new listener, if you've been around forever, thank you so much for listening and following and being along for the ride, because we're coming up on 3 years of Talking Fast in the new year, which is crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. We're a geriatric podcast at that point, because most pods do not last that long. We should start getting like benefits, right? Like RSP. I don't know.
I think so. Anyways. Yeah.